The 13th book of the Bible is 1 Chronicles, a unique retelling of Israel's history that begins with something many readers skip: 9 full chapters of genealogies. But these aren't just ancient family trees. They're a reminder that God works through real people and keeps his promises across generations. The book starts all the way back with Adam, tracing the line through Israel's tribes, with special focus on the tribe of Judah and the line of David. Why? Because God's covenant promises to David are the central theme of 1 Chronicles. After the genealogies, the story shifts to the reign of King David, but with a twist. Unlike the books of Samuel and Kings, 1 Chronicles leaves out David's failures, like his sin with Bathsheba, and focuses instead on his role as God's chosen king preparing for the temple. This is history told with a purpose: to encourage the Israelites, who have returned from exile, that God's plan for his people is still on track. We see David bringing the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem, establishing it as the nation's spiritual center. There's the joyful worship of God, the organization of the priests and Levites, and detailed preparations for building the temple. Even though David himself won't build it, God tells David that his son Solomon will do that. But David spares no effort in gathering materials, organizing workers, and setting everything in place. One of the key moments is God's covenant with David in 1 Chronicles 17. God promises to establish David's throne forever, a promise that ultimately points to Jesus, the Messiah, the son of David, who will reign eternally. David responds in humble praise, recognizing that all his success comes from God's hand. The book also shows David as a man of worship, not just war. The Levites are assigned to lead music in the temple, and David himself writes songs of thanks. In fact, some of the psalms we have today trace back to these moments of national worship. 1 Chronicles ends with David's final words to the people, urging them to obey God and support Solomon in the task of building the temple. David blesses the Lord publicly, gives generously from his own wealth, and the people follow his example. The book closes with Solomon being anointed as king and David's reign coming to an end. The big takeaway from 1 Chronicles is that God's promises never fail. Even after the exile, God's people could look back and see his hand guiding their history toward the fulfillment of his covenant. The emphasis on worship, the temple, and the Davidic line points us directly to Jesus, the true king who builds not a stone temple, but a living one made up of his people. So while 1 Chronicles may seem like just a history book, it's really a faith. It reminds us that no matter how dark things look, God's covenant plan is unshakable, and that's just as true for us today. This was Book 13 in our 66 Books of the Bible series. In the next episode, we'll explore 2 Chronicles and see how the story continues through the reigns of Solomon and the kings of Judah. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss it.